My trip to Africa. So, let's talk about Africa. Most of us associate Africa with slavery on National Geographic, but in reality, Africa's a lot like America. I recently went to Port Elizabeth, South Africa with my job, Continental Tires, to a training program. When I got off the plane, I didn't expect to see what I did. I was expecting to see lions running across the street and people on elephants' back and women with buckets on their head with no shirts on. But in reality, it was more like looking in Charlotte. Um, I feel like Africa is an experience of a lifetime. Great food, great culture, great people, a great atmosphere. So, what makes the food so much better? Well, there's less people, so there's less preservatives. Less preservatives means they're better for you. Many people don't understand, the preservatives that we have in our food cause, chemical processes that are unwanted and help us gain weight. A lot of fatties. Africa tends not to do this. They have a lot of fresh food. They're close to the ocean, a lot of fresh fish, a lot of fresh seafood, and a lot of people there farm, so a lot of their food is fresh. They don't use corn syrup as much as we do. If you look on the back of a lot of our ingredients and a lot of our ingredients, a lot of ours say corn syrup this, corn syrup that, but they don't have that. Speaking to a lot of people from South Africa, they say, I've gone to America and I've had this and I've had that, but y'all have so much corn syrup in everything you do, and you could tell in the people. And I was like, well, I never really thought about that, never knew anything different. Um, the seafood is great. You can have anything from oysters, crab, lobster, shrimp. It's the best. It's fresh right out the ocean. You can almost taste the salt on it. Um, There's a lot of unique South African dishes, cakes, pudding. And when I say pudding, I don't mean the pudding you scoop out like we do. Pudding for them is more like a cake that's thick and moist. It's actually really good. Um, People in the culture. I think this is probably one of the highlights of my trip. The culture there is completely different from the culture that we have here in America. And I'm not going to say completely different, but the morals are very different. Morally, first thing I know is girls don't leave their house until they're married. We still go through high school, middle school, elementary school the same way. It's the same process. People have boyfriends and girlfriends, but they don't actually leave their house. Like they try not to leave their house, even if they go to college. They go to college and stay home with their parents. It's almost like when they say their fathers are giving them away. It's literal. They mean that in a literal sense. TV. I hadn't watched TV where I saw, they curse on TV, or I didn't see where they put sex scenes on TV, or either use the Lord's name in vain on TV. I thought it was very interesting to, when they do that, they even blank that out, and it's really clean. It's definitely a family oriented place. Um, One thing I thought about the culture that was interesting was when I got there, they kept asking me, well, what tribe are you in? What's your surname? And I wasn't sure what they meant. And, they say, well, are you colored or are you black? And, to me, I was thinking, wait, aren't they the same? But to them, it's not. It's a different ethnicity. I also felt, that was very interesting. Um, how do people act in Africa? Well, South Africa is actually known as one of the politest cities in on the continent, which I can find very easy to believe. I'm not sure if it was because I was foreign American or what, but everybody showed me the best time, the utmost respect. You know they treated me like I was their own family. I thought that was very interesting. I met people. They took me to golf. They took me to the beach. Invited me over to their house, and it's not just one or two people. It's like a lot of people, asked me to come do things with them, and I thought, we're known for Southern hospitality, but I don't think we have anything on them. Um, they also went through apartheid, where I guess you can compare it to us going through our civil rights with Martin Luther King and theirs with Nelson Mandela. Uh, they said not only 20 years ago, black or colored people weren't even allowed on the beach, and now that they're going through this change, it's still young to them. As we went through our change in America, they went through a change in South Africa, and they're still getting used to it. They're trying to balance things out there, and more people do more things together, but it's still a change, and it's a constant change, and it change regardless. Um, the atmosphere, wow, living on the beach is just fantastic. I had the privilege of staying at a beach house, and once you go outside, you literally could take 100 steps and be on sand and water. Um, it was to them it was fall, but to us it would seem like summer. It was to maybe in the mid 80s, and it was fall. They're that far below the equator, and it stays pretty warm there throughout the year. And the weather was beautiful. People were still at the beach surfing. It was fantastic. Two oceans meet down there, and they get a lot of wind, so it was really really windy. But that's only for their fall season, and it was pretty intense, but it was still really nice. Um, I went on a safari, definitely a great experience. I will say this: it's not like going to the zoo. You could look into the animal's eye in the zoo and know, oh, he knows he's not gonna get out. You can see in these animals' eyes out here in the safaris that they're wild, and they know they're wild. They don't fear you; they think you should fear them, and I could definitely understand why. Lions, hyenas, elephants, giraffes, they have it all. It's actually very very fascinating, and you know, um, rhinoceros. Ooh, that's really nice. The seeing the horns, and they're actually endangered there because people will steal the horns so that they can sell them for aphrodisiacs. Which to me, I think, well, why do you actually have to kill the rhino to actually just get the horn? So they protect those. They protect rhinoceros there heavily, and um, they also ask you not to step on the dung beetles because they help keep balance there. Pick up the dung from the elephants, and I thought that was very interesting too. Um, hmm. I think the big thing that I got from Africa was we come to Africa with a mindset or a thought process that there's only going to be people out there that aren't civilized, and I know might have been ignorant to think so myself, but I'll admit when I was told that I was going to Africa for my training, I was slightly upset because I was thinking, I'm just gonna be out there at a river with a bunch of animals and people that don't really do the same things or interested in things I'm interested in. But in reality, it's completely different. It's the same thing that we do. So in conclusion, Africa is great. They have great food. Uh, they have great culture. That shaped that country into what it is today. Um, Atmosphere, next to none. Um, I feel bad because I left out a part about Africa's rugby team. We went to Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium and participated in the rugby tournament. And I didn't actually participate, but I actually got to view. And it's just like going to a college football game on Sunday, or a college football game, sorry, on Saturday, like in Alabama or South Carolina or wherever you might be. just as intense. People tailgate, and they do the same things we do. So I'll leave you with this: South Africa's experience in a lifetime. Are you interested?